Okay, let's dive right into an explainer that is going to completely destroy what you thought you knew about how a country gets rich. Forget the standard economic playbook for a minute, because today we are unpacking a true mystery.
Take a look at this number, 1.1%. That is Mexico's average annual growth rate from 1985 all the way to 2008. It is, frankly, humiliating. They executed a flawless set of economic reforms, yet they barely beat out Venezuela.
This is the ultimate face slap to conventional wisdom. Mexico did everything right. Free trade? Check. Privatized hundreds of state-owned businesses? Check. Crushed inflation? Absolutely. Their economic policy was run by elite experts, and they aggressively reformed. But that massive economic miracle they were absolutely promised, it just never arrived.
And if you want a visual of this tragedy, just look at that green line essentially flatlining for decades. Meanwhile, peer nations like Chile are absolutely skyrocketing to wealth. So why? How does a star pupil fail so badly? Well, we're going to systematically interrogate the four prime suspects holding Mexico back.
Starting with suspect number 1, banks that never lend.
The sheer lack of cash flowing here is just staggering. I mean, banks absolutely exist in Mexico, but they just flat out refuse to fund actual businesses. Domestic credit to the private sector sits at a pathetic 18%. To put that in perspective, Brazil is at 37%, and Malaysia is at an incredible 130%. The financial blood simply isn't pumping.
So why the freeze? Well, it comes down to a totally broken legal system. In Chile, bankruptcy laws protect the lenders. If a business fails, the bank recovers its assets. But in Mexico, the law basically protects the defaulters. Lenders got a literal 0 out of 4 score from the World Bank for asset protection. The result is that banks simply stop commercial lending entirely.
And here's the crucial so what. Small entrepreneurs are literally starved of cash. When academics actually ran experiments giving cash to small retail firms down in Mexico, the results were staggering. These businesses are missing out on potential returns of up to 32% a month. I mean, the potential is huge. The ideas are definitely there, but the financial fuel, it's just completely missing.
Moving right along to suspect number 2, the trap of free benefits. Okay, look at this incredibly twisted incentive system. Step 1, you heavily tax formal legal workers, about 18% of their wages just for Social Security. Then, step 2, you turn right around and give informal, off-the-books workers completely free healthcare and housing subsidies anyway. So, step 3 is the disaster. You are literally bribing workers to stay hidden in the unproductive, untaxed shadow economy. Subsidizing the shadows basically drains the light. Because of this bizarre dual setup, capital and labor naturally flow far away from highly productive modern factories. Instead, they flow to tiny, highly inefficient street stalls and micro-enterprises, just to avoid the tax penalty. It systematically destroys nationwide efficiency.
Next up, suspect number 3, monopolies choking the economy.
You literally cannot grow an economy under these conditions. Think about it. A single company controls 90% of the fixed telecom market. The result? Wildly expensive internet. State monopolies hike electricity prices to nearly double the U.S. rate, and powerful teachers' unions capture almost the entire public school budget just for staff pay. There's practically nothing left to actually educate the workforce.
Because these everyday costs for basic inputs are just astronomically high, Mexico never built its own dominant global brands. Instead, it fell right into the assembly line trap. It just imports foreign parts, assembles them cheaply using low-wage labor, and then ships them right back. There is no domestic innovation, no moving up the value chain.
And that brings us to suspect number 4, the Made in China shock.
Look right at the year 2001 on this chart. Bam! China joins the World Trade Organization. Instantly, China's market share violently soars while Mexico's completely plummets. China ruthlessly seized Mexico's market share in the United States.
This right here illustrates some incredibly bad luck. It's what we call the fatal overlap. See, other Latin American countries sold stuff like oil or copper, things China actually wanted to buy. But Mexico? They had the misfortune of specializing in the exact same labor-intensive manufacturing exports as this rapidly awakening giant. They were selling the exact same things to the exact same customer.
But hey, we've got to be brutally honest here. The whole China ruined everything hypothesis has a massive flaw, and that's timing. Sure, competition got acute after 2001, but Mexico was already stagnating heavily in the 80s and 90s.
China didn't kill the Mexican miracle. The internal rot did.
Which brings us to our ultimate realization, the fatal knot of reform.
It's a classic butterfly effect. If you try to fix just one problem in isolation, you might actually destroy the whole system. Imagine you fix the bankruptcy laws to make credit flow freely. Awesome, right? But wait, you keep the informal tax loopholes wide open. What happens? Those newly empowered banks might just pump billions of dollars into totally inefficient shadow economy street markets.
You see the trap, right? You literally have to untie the entire economic knot all at once. You just can't piecemeal this kind of thing. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. When every single broken part of an economy is leaning on another broken part, how does a struggling nation rewire its entire DNA without completely collapsing in the process?